What's going on, guys? It's Cruiser Hoops here, back in another video. Um, my face cam is kind of bugging out for some reason today, so unfortunately there'll be no face cam, so you guys can't scope out my face here. I know it's like a really game changing thing, but yeah, it's unfortunate. Anyways, today we're gonna be looking at some trades that the Clippers can make because a trade deadline's approaching in like a month and a half at this point, maybe 2 months. So yeah, so the first trade we got here is the Clippers acquiring George Hill from the Oklahoma City Thunder in exchange for Lou Williams, Fiondu Kabengele, and Portland's 2023 second round pick. So mindset here for the Clippers is, well, I mean, George Hill uh, at this point in their careers, George Hill is better than Lou Williams. Now, Lou Williams, like I was alluding to right now, hasn't been very good this season at all. But he can still bring some value to a team. It's not like he's, useless out there or anything. He can still bring value to a team. So if the Thunder want to just acquire Lou Williams and then just flip him to a different team, then they probably could. Um, the Clippers would also be trading Fionnu Kabengele. Now, Fee was selected in the first round last year in the draft from Florida State, but the team decided not to pick up his third year and fourth year options, which is pretty surprising because of the fact that they traded up in the draft to get him. But they chose not to pick up his option, which means he's probably going to get traded at the deadline. So it makes complete sense for the Thunder to acquire him. First of all, their Big Ben prospects are not very pleasant to say the least, and they're a rebuilding team. So why not just take on another young player, right? And then they also get that second round pick as insurance. Now the Clippers in this case would be getting George Hill, which would be more useful than Lou Williams coming off the bench in this Tyrod Lue system that emphasizes ball movement more than isolation ball. And not to mention, George Hill had one of the best 3-point percentages in the league last year, if not the best. And I feel like he just fit better in a Ty Lue system. So I feel like this is like a perfect trade for both sides. All right, so this next trade, it actually says it's failed, but the only reason why it says the trade fails is because he can't be traded until February 23rd, as it says on the screen right here. So other than that, like, it works completely fine. I think we all passed second grade here, so you can see that 3 + 2 = 5. Numbers match up completely fine. So in this trade, the Clippers would be acquiring Nerlens Noel in exchange for Patrick Patterson and the aforementioned Fionnu Kabengele. So we don't gotta get into Fionnu Kabengele too much. But Pat was surprisingly signed to a little more than the minimum this past free agency, which is surprising. But most Clipper fans knew that when he was signed to the $3 million contract, that he would probably get traded at the deadline. So the Knicks would be trading Nerlens Noel as an insurance center to the Clippers. We saw a couple games ago actually when Serge Ibaka went out, Zubats had to start, and it was more like like a play by committee type of thing off the bench. And that was a game where they blew the 20-point lead, I believe. I believe that's what it was. Um, so Nerlens Noel would just be like an insurance type of backup center. And it's not like he's useless, but it's nice to have him on your team. Um, Now, honestly, I don't know what Nerlens' value is around the league. So depending on his value, the Clippers might have to add like a Detroit second rounder or something like that. But I don't think that's too big of a deal. The Knicks, like I said, are acquiring a young center in return for a veteran center. So, I mean, it's a win-win. All right, this last trade is kind of like a pipe trade, to be honest. I was watching a Stephen A. the other day, and he was like, "The Clippers should get Bradley Beal." And as a Clippers fan myself, I'm not too fond of the idea, but why not, right? At this point, so we got the Clippers acquiring Bradley Beal, and the Mavericks as a third team in the trade acquiring Marcus Morris Sr. and Ish Smith. The Wizards get James Johnson's expiring contract, Big Zoo Ivica Zubats, Luke Kennard, who was just signed to a 4-year, $58 million contract extension, I'd like to say, with $6 million in incentives. Fiona Camgelli, like he's a mainstay in all these trades. Josh Green, who was just selected in this past draft by the Mavericks. 3 second round picks. We could probably add Atlanta and Portland's second round picks as well, and a top 8 protected 2027 first round pick from the Clippers, and a top 8 protected 2024 first round pick by the Mavericks. So the Clippers obviously make a big three with Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and Bradley Beal in hopes of retaining Kawhi Leonard after this season. Also, to bounce back from their absolutely embarrassing outing in the playoffs last year. So that's pretty much a given. The Mavericks want to do this because, well, they're kind of struggling right now. And Luka's, he's kind of handling the ball. He's quite literally doing everything for the offense right now. So I feel like Ish Smith, who's a solid, at least a solid, respectable backup point guard in the NBA, could do, the Mavericks some good. And Marcus Morris Sr. is, it's not a flashy name by any means, but he brings toughness to the team. Um, the Mavericks are notorious for being kind of bullied by Morris last year in the playoffs. So Morris is kind of like one of those players who you would rather have, who you would like to have on your team, but you would hate to play against them. And so having Morris on their side might pay some dividends. And the Wizards get Johnson's expiring contract, a near $16 million contract, where they'll have the cap room after this season. Zubats is a very promising young center in the NBA. Kennard is a very promising shooting guard in the NBA. I mean, I'm not sure what else to say. I mean, Kennard can create his own offense, but he can also shoot threes at a very high volume. Zubats can bring defense. He's a very underrated defender, especially around the rim. Centers or just people who try to take shots around the rim have a lower percentage to make the shot against Zubats compared to like a lot of other centers in the league, which is a very nice stat. Fiona Camgelli, I don't want to touch on him anymore. Josh Green is a really nice guard prospect that came out of last year's draft, and the Wizards are compensated with 3 second-round picks, maybe more, and two future first-round picks that are protected lightly. I mean, the protections maybe could come off, but I mean, I know the Wizards can find a better deal, but I mean, why not? Let a man dream. So, anyways, this is it for the Clippers trade machine video. I'll be diving into some other NBA teams as well in the future. So stay tuned for that. So if you guys like the video, please subscribe and hit the like button and do whatever you got to do, man. And if you don't want to, then don't. I mean, all right. All right. Peace out. Cruiser Hoops out.